Welcome back to another episode of Interesting Questions. Thank you for joining me. Um, this particular episode is going to deal with something all of us have dealt with. You are going to relate to a lot of things in this video um, that I know I will, because I have I've kind of dealt with people like this, and the subject is narcissists. Um, I have known people like this throughout my life. I could probably say in some ways my own father was a bit of a narcissist. Um, you know, or at least had narcissistic traits. Um, so what this video is about, uh, it pertains to, does the narcissist know that you are onto them? Do they know that you know? And that's pretty much what this, it comes from Dr. Ramani. um I've done another video of her going over narcissists, what's the difference between a narcissist, a sociopath, and a psychopath. It's a very interesting video. If you haven't checked it out, please check out my channel, subscribe, hit the like button, share these videos. Because what I'm trying to do here is I want to educate people onto things, and I'm learning stuff as I go along, 100%. Because like I said, I don't pre-watch these videos. I watch them with you. So this is like a learning process, not not just for me, but for you also. So I'm gonna watch this video as how does the narcissist know? Like, how do they know that you know? Or something along those lines. So, uh, like I said, I've had friends and female friends and male friends and stuff, and it's just, when you kind of understand narcissism, you might even look back in hindsight, you might say, wow, oh man, that's crazy. Wow, that guy I was dating, oh, he was a narcissist. Or man, my ex, oh my God, she was a narcissist. So I think it's important to understand human behavior, and why it's important is it gives you a better understanding, and it kind of lets you know what you're getting yourself into, and also what you should avoid when you know that. When you see these signs, it's going to teach you how, like, to say, you know what, yeah, I've seen this before. I've already seen this movie. I'm out. So this is the purpose of what I'm doing here in Interesting Questions, is asking interesting questions. And I want it to be a very diverse channel. I want to go over a bunch of different subjects. So this is something that to me is very important, and I hope it's very important to you as well. And actually it is very important to you as well, whether you believe that or not. I highly suggest that you watch stuff like this, because it's going to give you a better understanding of people, and how to deal with people and deal with situations, and how to avoid certain situations, or walk away from problems. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm gonna get down to the video, and we'll let Dr. Ramani explain, narcissism or narcissists.
Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani, and welcome back to this YouTube channel
Ramani.
that takes on all kinds of little and big issues related to narcissistic relationships. So some of you are thinking, I've watched so many of your damn videos, lady. I get this. I really get this now. Well, now I'm going to let you know. In a way, you're kind of screwed once the narcissist knows that you know. So let's take that apart and really lay out what that means for you. So this relates to a consistent question I get from people all the time via the comments or emails or whatever is, does a narcissist know? Do narcissists know that they're narcissistic or difficult? And maybe even more important is the question, of do narcissists really know how insecure they are? Because clearly this person's insecure. Do they know? The answer to that,
They are extremely insecure. Because, like I said, I dealt with a former female friend in recent years, and I could tell you right now, everything that Dr. Ramani, like, she describes about narcissists defines this person to a T. You know what I'm saying? Just totally. And I did another video on, like, it's lying, or like the science of lying. Is I did a commentary on a video, and they go over this, and it talks about narcissism, and it just, dude, it's right there in your face most of the time. And like I said, it's hindsight, because I can look back on it now and I go, oh my God, wow. Like, but see, I'm smarter, so I can't take this. I don't look at it negatively. I actually look at these experiences positively. The reason why I look at them positive, because people say, well, how could you look at something like that positively? I look at it positively because it is a lesson. I learned a lot from this experience. And this is what we need to do. You can't beat yourself up over because you trusted someone who screwed you over, or so on and so forth. You can't do that. What you have to do is you go say, hey, you know what? I'm wiser now from this experience. And then you move on with your life. You move on. There's so much more to life than one particular person, or one person we're head over heels over, or whatever. And yeah, don't get me wrong, you may find that right person that's just, they're not a narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath, and they're going to be a good, honest person. They're going to be the type of person you are, and you're going to identify with that person. You're going to connect with that person. And yes, I hope all of you live happily ever after. I hope I live happily ever after. So let's get back to the doc.
is ish. Remember that shame rage spiral I talk about so often? Narcissistic people aren't demented or frankly delusional. They are able to see that there are consequences to their behavior. And they know that their behavior at times is not a good look. But their impulsivity and their entitlement in some ways means that they cannot stop themselves and don't think they should have to. It's as though they will burst if they don't get their nonsense out. It's that tension reduction I talked about.
Extremely impulsive. Yes. My experience with narcissists, they are extremely impulsive people.
So they know that over time, their behavior is kind of causing a problem, but they will rationalize their behavior, justify their behavior, explain it, defend it. But yeah, in a tiny corner of their brains, they know what they're doing is probably not a good thing. And sometimes in therapy, if they're in therapy, they may even admit that they can't stop themselves. It's too uncomfortable. They just need to get it out. And they know it sounds silly if they actually spoke their truth, which would be, why can't everyone just let me get away with what I have to say? I don't really mean it, and I just need to let it out. I think that everyone is out to get me when they don't let me, and life is so unfair to me. And I do always know.
Well, what you're saying that relates to impulsivity is just the emotional impulsive reaction. That's what that is. That is an emotional impulsive reaction, is to blurt stuff out uncontrollably, but then also thinking later, like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I'm never going to admit that, you know. And like I said, my dad had very narcissistic traits, and he would do stuff like that, and it was always like, oh well, but I mean, my dad would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, because he wanted, he wanted to basically clear the air, like with my mom, or something like that. But that's the thing, is if you let your emotions get the best of you, and I've done it. I've said things where I'm just kind of like, that's kind of stupid, I shouldn't have said that. It happens. We're human beings. We are emotional beings, and unless you're a psychopath, because you have no empathy and you have no emotion, you don't care.
know what's best. Why can't everything just be my way and let me have my tantrum? They can't say that, and they know it, but that's what's happening. So there's an inflection point in every narcissistic relationship. It's the point when they see that you get it. It's a subtle dance. It's something that's happening just under the radar. It's almost imperceptible. You aren't taking the bait as much. You aren't letting the gaslighting get to you as much. You're gray rocking a little more. You're not defending, you're not explaining. You may even be holding yourself a tiny bit taller because now you get it. Maybe you aren't putting yourself down as much or getting as anxious when they say they will cut bait and leave, or maybe we need to get a divorce, or when they throw their passive aggressive stuff at you. Interestingly, at this phase of the relationship, it becomes even more miserable, and the narcissistic person will act out even more. It's as though you have peered into their insecurity and figured out their game.
Crazy enough is what you're saying. Like my dad. My dad would throw tantrums, literally, and my mom just would just give into it. It's crazy what you're saying. It's so true.
And they don't like that. When people start to gray rock, you can almost graph it. It looks like a roller coaster. The narcissist's rage will increase for a while. They aren't getting the same fights out of you. The bait isn't working. Remember, they need you to take the bait and behave in an unhinged way so then they can say, ooh, somebody's all worked up, and they can feel better about themselves. So they
Correct. It's like stop and think of that. What she's saying right there is very important. Narcissists, and I've seen this. I've seen people. What they will do is they will attack somebody. But when that person finally defends themselves against them, they will go, oh my God, look what they're doing. Look at, I'm a victim. I'm a victim here. They're victimizing me. Blah, blah. And I've literally seen this. I've seen people do this, and I'm just kind of like, you're not the victim in all this. You are attacking this person, and this person is now defending themselves, and now you're playing victim. That is 100%. So I'm sure people have seen this at your jobs. You've seen people do this. They're narcissists, and stay away from those people.
they start getting meaner, up the roller coaster. They start insulting your friends or family. They start going after things about yourself that they know are triggers for you. They may make fun of your job. They may make fun of your cooking. It starts getting more and more toxic. You didn't think it was possible, but it is. But if you could stand your ground and not break, get to the top of that roller coaster, the narcissist will actually start to deflate. In some cases, they'll get bored, but they'll deflate. However, on your way to this destination, top of the roller coaster, is a world of abuse, anger, and rage. So if you thought it was bad before, zoop. So when you finally start to get it, somehow they sense it. For all of their lack of empathy, people with narcissistic personalities are tremendous.
I was actually like, to share a quick story, I was physically assaulted by a female employee at my job. Because I disagreed with her on something. I just said, well, I don't agree with that. And she literally threw an object, an object she had in her hand. She threw it at me and hit me with it at my job. And I just walked away. Because she was trying to engage me. She was trying to antagonize me. She was trying to pull me in. And that's what I say about people like this. Walk away from them. And then she literally accused me of harassment. But I never harassed her. It wasn't harassment. Her and I just had a disagreement. And then she physically assaulted me. And funny thing is, enough, when they found out that it was actually her that was the problem and she assaulted me, they said, oh, there's nothing to see here. But when they thought, when she was crying wolf, that I did something to her, they were all about investigating it. And then when they found out it was contrary, they just went, oh, there's nothing to see here. And then, everyone go back, nothing to see here. Everyone go back to work. And we have double standards in our society too. So
tremendously attuned to their worlds, but from a very, to the world around them, but from a very egocentric perspective. They're always monitoring for threats. They're always looking for that person who looks at them the wrong way. They don't believe that they're ever showed the respect they believe they deserve. They feel like they don't get enough validation for all their greatness. They notice the shifts, and they notice that people are onto them. There is a point for every narcissistic person when they recognize that they have gone a bridge too far, that they really, really pushed a person to the breaking point, and that other person they push finally shuts down. This can actually be quite impactful if it happens, for example, at work or with a lower stakes person. The narcissistic people takes the people closest to them, like family and partners, for granted, so they may not notice it there. But the idea that someone out there in their world, like their work world or something, doesn't think well of them actually really activates their shame. Once they recognize that people are starting to see it and are starting to kind of walk around the narcissist as though the narcissist is unhinged, that in essence, they sort of feel like they're being kind of handled by other people. They don't like it because it activates shame. But now they're in a catch-22 because at some level, they kind of know they're unhinged. So it's a big, strange circle. And at that point, you, if you're in a relationship with them, may slowly work your way to indifference. Once you have the roadmap for narcissism, and I'll be frank with you, that roadmap is the reason for me even starting this channel. I want to show you every subtle pattern there is so you can detect it. So you can consider Dr. Ramani's YouTube channel as like Narcissism GPS, because then the pattern makes sense. You face the hard.
And it is. She's right. A lot. I agree with everything she's saying. In my experiences, especially when she talks about narcissists, they do everything that they do because they're insecure. And my female friend, who I've talked about, and she was a pathological liar. She was a narcissist. It's because she was such an insecure person, jealous and possessive, and just controlling. Like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Like stuff that didn't even pertain to her. And that's the thing is what she's saying is that all comes from insecurity, and that is narcissism. It's caused by their narcissistic nature because they are narcissists.
Hard work of breaking your internal cycles of trauma bonding, etc. But once you see it, you start walking a much bigger circle around them, and they start to say like, oh, they see. They may have a wide range of behavior when you start walking that bigger circle and go between rage and trying to show you that they can keep it together and try to show you I'm actually a nice person. They may go to insults, to passive aggression. The narcissistic relationship is all about control. Controlling the image of the relationship to the world, controlling the people
100%.
in the relationship, controlling the narrative, and controlling the narcissistic supply. Control, control, control. So once you understand what's happening, they want to control you even more. And they will not let you throw off their controlling ship because they want to control the narrative. And yet, once you understand it, their destabilization will mean that they can't get the control back. And now they're going to rage even more. There's no getting away from the rage. You may be thinking, is there a way for me to understand it without them losing it around me all the time? Probably not. You will either get bored of this relationship and leave, or if you can't leave, you just might make the relationship what we call very perfunctory and mechanical. Or you'll hope that they leave. Or you hope that they'll have a place to go to whenever they tantrum because you're not going to listen to it. At some point, your presence is going to be such a shame activator that they will either try to destroy you with their rage, or they may leave and run away because your presence is too shame-inducing for them. Neither of those outcomes are going to feel pretty good, especially if you're not sure you want this relationship to end. Yeah, I get it. You might think, oh, I shouldn't want it to end. You may not want it to end. You may also wonder, Is there a way for you to understand this and for them to not understand that you understand it? Probably not, again. Your subtle behavioral shifts are going to be noticed. It's frustrating and demoralizing because they didn't notice you when you were crying or didn't notice that you when you were actually trying to get them to notice you, but you make a tiny shift in narcissistic supply you give them and they notice it.
Well, yeah, like with my the specific female friend, you know, my brother passed away. Then 6 months later, I lost my sister, and her attitude, like towards me, totally and completely, was just like, "You need to get over it. You need," because I just told her, I said, I need some time. You know, uh, you know, I'm going through a lot of stuff. Whatever. She didn't care. She's like, "I don't care. You need to be here for me. I don't care what you're going through." And which in a way kind of describes a psychopath, because psychopaths, they have no empathy, which in her case, literally, she was acting like a psychopath. Like, well, yeah, well, I don't really care. Like, she didn't say that, actually say that to me, but that was her demeanor. Well, yeah, like, just like, oh, okay, well, you just need to like get over it, dude. Like, yeah, well, you know, you need to come back, and you need to start talking to me and joking around with me, and do what I want you to do. She had no empathy. She didn't really care that my brother and my sister passed away. She just, that was her attitude. So, like I said, you encounter people like this, walk away. Or you're in a relationship like this, get out of it.
Getting narcissism, understanding narcissism is tricky. And your partner will likely pathologize you for the change. They'll say things like, oh, you've changed. You're cold. You're weird. It seems like you're getting a little bit less socially skilled in your old age. On and on and on. They'll pathologize you for understanding them. So the very
Correct. They will project. They're going to project who they are, their wants, and their wills. 100% what she's saying right there. They will project onto you their wants and their wills. You know what I'm saying? Things that they want, that they know are distasteful or wrong, that they want. They're going to basically tell people, oh, well, he wanted to do this. When in reality, you're like, no, she wanted to do that. That's a narcissist. So if you're in, like I said, you're in that type of relationship, get out.
very thing that will set you free, actually understanding the narcissism, can make your life miserable for a while. In the long term, it's a win. But in the short sprint, be aware that it will be unpleasant, so you can at least prepare. So for you to just think about this, getting it, understanding narcissism. Once you get it, you might feel like, ha ha, I have the keys to the kingdom, I get this. But as your behavior shifts, the narcissistic person you're in a relationship is going to notice it, whether it's a family member, whether it's a partner, whether it's someone you work with. They're going to notice it in many, many cases. And that might mean that they're uncomfortable because what really was a power they held, and you know it was a power they held because you didn't understand what was going on. You were upside down with the gaslight.
I was totally and completely oblivious. I thought this was a really good person, a really nice person, thought the world of her. And it was all facade. It was all a lie. It was all a manipulation. That's all that it was. Because she was a narcissist. And this is what narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths all have in common. They either have no empathy or they lack empathy for what other people are going through. And everything is about what they can capitalize on. So put that into perspective. Think about billionaires. At minimum, they're narcissists. More than likely, they're probably psychopaths, because you don't get that rich without walking all over somebody and not caring what anyone else is going through. You have no empathy. And that's a harsh reality, but that is a reality nonetheless.
And the manipulation. Now you get it, you see it. there's actually a strange calm and serenity that will come over you because you get it, right? It's almost like, this is how you do the trick. And now it's not even interesting anymore. But they'll notice that shift and recognize they can no longer dominate, overpower you, confuse you. Then they've lost their power and they get frustrated. And that frustration is something you will experience as rage. Like I said, in the long term, it's healthier for you to get it for no other reason so that you stop blaming yourself and personalizing it. And that's your work to do, to not blame yourself, because it's not your fault. It's just that once you get it, you should have unlocked the code. And this rather quiet, manipulative way they kept you under their thumb, you've kind of lifted it in a way. It can feel very unsatisfying as a relationship at this point, but at least you're not living in a place where you're constantly invalidated, confused, and don't know which way is up. I hope that helps. Thanks again.
I'm just going to close it on this. Exactly what she's saying is true. When they realize they cannot manipulate or control you, they go to retaliation. They're retaliative, possessive, jealous. There's so many traits that go along with these types of people, and it's their impulsive nature. Like she said, it's caused by insecurity. It's their impulsive nature. So I mean, very long story short, yeah, that girl said that I was harassing her, and I never harassed her. And there was an investigation, and it turned out that she was the one harassing me. So, and that was her deal. I'm going to get even. I'm going to get even with you. You're going to reject me. You're going to do this. I'm going to destroy you. At minimum, she's a narcissist, but she definitely has um, psychopathic traits. So I dodged a bullet, though. I'm not dealing with it anymore, and that's what I say to you guys. Anything she's talking about or anything that I had commentary on, mark her words, mark my words from my experiences. Get away from these people. Stay away from them, and I want you all to be safe out there. I want you guys to be educated, and I want you guys to live long, happy, healthy lives, and I want one for myself also. But shout out to Dr. Ramani for making this video. She's doing the right thing. She's educating people, and good for her. But on that note, there's the peace sign, and peace and love to you guys. I'm out.